Hello, we have a first line day. We are in the gate of extremes, gate 15, and we're in line 1, which is called duty. There's a lifetime learning, and it says the ability to confront any challenge without expectations. If you are yourself, if you're operating as yourself in this world, you cannot fail, and it's not possible. You may not get experiences that your mind tells you you should have, and things may not always be rosy, but you're still not failing. We have a very fixed idea of what it means to be correct. We think everything's going to be fine and glorious, and if it's not, then we failed. But we don't fail. There's actually no such thing as failure at all anyway. There's just a different outcome from what we expected. So what does it really mean to be yourself? Well, in human design, we know to be yourself means that you're operating in alignment or behaving in alignment with your type, strategy, and authority. What else could it possibly mean when you're working with human design? In the exaltation, harmonic relationships which give support for the fulfillment of any task. The capacity of the self to confront any challenge through extreme and harmonic relationships. The first line is the foundation of the entire hexagram. This is what gate 15 is all about. Doing your duty, being yourself, finding out what relationships are all about. What is a harmonic relationship? I could say that word. What is a harmonic relationship? It could possibly be a translation of how can I get people not to interfere with my extreme rhythms? That would be, for someone who has gate 15, a very balanced and harmonic relationship. The 15 in the lower trigram, it can be deeply disturbed by people who interfere with their rhythm. Their harmonic relationship is not about how they can have a harmonic relationship with others, but how they can find others who will have a harmonic relationship with them. Let them be their extreme self, their wonderfully extreme self, how they can find their place where they are balanced within the extremes that life brings. When someone is an extremist and they are given Valium or something else that dulls them, numbs them down, Ra says that what you're doing is destroying a little piece of love in the world. The love of humanity can only exist when all extremes are permitted, when human beings get to live out their actual nature, whatever that may happen to be. This is a collective gate. It's automatically social in that respect. This is the love of humanity, or not, but this is lower trigram. It doesn't mean that the 15 line 1 is actually looking for harmonic relationships. They're just trying to figure out what a harmonic relationship actually is. And they're coming to grips with their own extremes. The first line is very introspective, remember. It's not really looking out there. So when you hear what the line is called, it's always about the inside, really. So something really important to recognize about the 15th gate is that it can never really be controlled by others. No, it's really not possible. There are 4 gates that don't work well with other people. It's the 15 here, the 55, the 45, and the 21. They don't really work well with other people. They are not to be controlled by other people. That's not really how they're designed to operate. In the detriment, we have alienation engendered through exaggerated claims, the capacity of the self to alienate others through extremes. The most common thing about the nature of the 15 is that their energy flow is unpredictable. It's not a motor. After all, the G center is not a motor. So these people may show up, they may not show up. They may answer you, they may not answer you. Their behavior can be extreme and it can be alienating to others, which is difficult because this is also a very magnetic gate. It's where the deep magnetic influence of the magnetic monopole is felt. this capacity to hold you together and to bring other people towards you. At the same time, the 15 is kind of pushing people away through its nature of being extreme. So it pulls you one way and it pushes you the other. This can be quite an uncomfortable energy, both to have and to be in. So whenever you have a 15 in your life, you're automatically going to be pulled into their extreme. And then, of course, you have to deal with that. You have to decide together that you're going to do something. And you do that, and you move, and they don't. And there's nothing either of you can do. If you're operating correctly, then it's correct for them not to move, even if you've agreed you're going to do something. Oh, it's like that relationship between the generators. The generator might ask you a question, do you want to go out for a pizza? And the one generator asking another, and that generator says, oh, yeah, and then you have to ask the one back, do you want to go out for a pizza? It's like, okay, as long as you both know what's going on, it's not a problem. As soon as you've got people who don't understand the mechanic, but you just asked me and you now don't want to go, what's the matter with you? It's very easy to take it up into the mind and make somebody wrong for behaving according to their own nature. Well, the lesson for the 15 is to accept their extremes. Oh, if they're busy, be busy. If they're tired, be tired. That's it. Don't try to be what you're not, because that's a sure route to madness of one sort or another. And this is the gate of the aura. It's a very powerful aura that is particularly powerful in the 4th and the 5th lines. Lower trigram auras tend to be a little bit more contained, It's only when they're met by something that there's an impression of having this large aura, but when they're on their own, that's not how it necessarily expresses. In fact, Ra said that this is not an aura that moves outwards. It's an aura that is contained because the process of the lower trigram is internal. So this ability to confront any challenge, to be able to accept any place within the spectrum of extremes is really important. The love of humanity, or not, is always about loving your neighbor. And loving your neighbor can be a really tough business. Not actually really about that. Loving your neighbor is not about, love of humanity is not about loving your neighbor. No, it's about loving yourself. It's about being yourself and loving yourself. And then that's what then generates love in the world. Yeah. There's a thing, I've just been doing a rave cosmology session on the mystical ways and looking at religion and how all of that plays into the world and how we have this thing of, love your neighbor as yourself, but we're never really taught how to love ourselves. So it's really, how do we love our neighbor? We can't possibly. All we can do is love ourselves, and then it will all go out. That's where love of humanity begins. It's kind of, at home. So the grounding of the sun in gate 15 is gate 10, of course, also in the G center, as we know. And gate 10 is a profiling gate. The lines in gate 10 are the lines for our profiles. We have the hermit, the martyr, the opportunist, and so on. And we usually refer to the first line when we're talking about profiles as the investigator, but the 10th gate, line 1, is actually called modesty, which Ra said could also be called the chameleon. And it's quite interesting that this first line of gate 10 is called modesty because it's in polarity to gate 15, and the I Ching name, the I Ching name for gate 15 is modesty. So again, we have a little link coming between the 10 and the 15. All first lines, genetic continuity, all first lines are chameleons because they can adapt to their environment. They can adapt sometimes so quickly that they disappear. And of course, all first lines just want to be allowed to dig into their foundation. They're not transpersonal. Well, no, they're not out there. They're introspective. They don't know that there's an other side. They don't know that they're part of a channel. They just want to blend in, to disappear, to be allowed to do their own thing. First lines are inherently insecure. You know, there's that thing of someone's going to ask them a question and they won't have the answer. Just leave me alone so that I can find my answer, so I can dig into the foundation and I'll know everything I need to know. When you have the gate of extremes and you are trying to do your duty by living your design, being yourself, then you have this chameleon-like quality, an ability that could be very useful, you know, because you do just want to be left alone, especially here in this lower trigram. I'm just here, I'm doing my extreme thing, finding my own balance, blending in. You can't see me. This is kind of behavior that can keep you safe. And that's an important keynote for our first lines. Some planets are on the move today. Maybe you can feel the energies as they shift around. It can make things feel a little bit kind of zingy, little zingy. Mercury goes into gate 52 today at 5:03, so it's there already. The gate of inaction and stillness. This is a gate in the root center with the line temporary and self-imposed inaction for the benefit of assessment. So are you able to still your body and your senses to use the power you have to concentrate on what is worthwhile? Something that you really want to dedicate your energy toward. Yeah. Maybe these are some of the thoughts that will come to you. Find yourself talking about, oh, what's my power to concentrate? I need something worthwhile to concentrate on. Maybe there'll be a special offer in your local bookshop on books to do with stillness and meditation. The Chinese name for gate 52 is Keeping Still Mountain. It's such a pretty name. Mars goes into gate 24 at 13:33 today. This is the return. You know, it's always nice when the immature energy of Mars gets a naturally spontaneous process to play with. It kind of feels innocent and childlike somehow. And this is about transformation and renewal. And there's a sense of contemplation here, you know, a little bit like gate 52, waiting until a concept is clear and can have the potential to impact others. This is an Ajna gate in individuality. And Jupiter goes into gate 16 at 21:12 today, making a channel with the South Node in gate 14. And we have this for nearly a month. And this is about talent, the talent that is earned through constant repetition, identifying with one thing to immerse yourself into it totally to achieve mastery. It's about hard work, it's about commitment, and it's the joy of all of that too. It's not a drudgery, it's having enthusiasm, and this brings a grounding to what you're doing. It backs up your skills. You have to love what you're doing with this channel of talent. And we have the channel of awareness for a little while until Jupiter moves out at 21:12. This is the 10:20. So this is between the G center and the throat. And the 10, of course, is our Earth at the moment. So Jupiter and the Earth bringing the energy of people who empower others without needing to know how, just by being and loving themselves, which is really nice with the love of humanity being in gate 15 too. Not the 15-2, in gate 15 as well. Yeah. Yes, I've completely forgotten. Oh, 10:20. Yes, the 10:20. So this is to do with self-love and self-acceptance. And this channel of awakening. And Ra said with this little channel here that if you are awake, then, oh, I can't remember what he said now. Okay, we're going to forget that. Next time it comes around, I'll try and remember to say it, because it was something about if you're asleep, you're never going to wake up, and if you're awake, you don't need it. But I can't quite remember exactly what it is. Sorry, maybe we should delete that bit. So these are people who might be aware, but they might not be aware. It's not a given if you've got the channel of awareness that you're going to be aware. And it's also an integration. Integration is all about the self. And so these are people who are not here to wake you up. You know, because actually they might not even recognize that you're asleep. They might not even particularly notice what's going on in your process at all, because integration is much more about the self. Individuality, it's that sense, that feeling of it there. So the awareness that's in this channel is for them and them alone. The moon is currently still in gate 14, the sacral gate of resources and possession in great measure. And it then goes into gate 34 at 1745. This is the power of the great, the gate of power. So even though this is an individual gate, we're told that power is only great when its display or use serves the common good. Oh, it's a gate of empowerment. It's the sacral gate that is a potent source of pure, vital energy that emerges through response, of course, being a generator thing. It's an empowering energy for individuation and the expression of uniqueness. It's a complex gate, because it has potential connections to 3 other gates. Today, it's meeting up with the Earth in gate 10, bringing the channel of exploration, a design of following your own convictions. This again is about loving yourself and loving life and loving it all enough to trust in your own self, in your own convictions, regardless of how others feel. It's an energy that thrives doing what it truly loves. And so it's something to look at for yourself today. Can you gift yourself this today? Take some time to do something that you really love, just because you really love to do it. And then gate 9 at 04:14 tomorrow morning. This is the gate of focus, the taming power of the small, where potential can be fulfilled through focused and detailed attention to all pertinent aspects of a task. There can be a determination to direct energy and focus on what is essential for one's own process, and to persevere in putting energy towards a given project. This is a sacral gate. It needs something to respond to before it can put its phenomenal energy into focusing. And we have here a channel with Mercury. Mercury has just gone into gate 52, and so we have the channel of concentration. And this is a format channel. You might have heard me talk about these before. The energy in the format channels, which are all the channels between the sacral and the root, they bring their flavor to the rest of the body graph. So that channel of concentration is going to be an element of every other gate in your body graph, in whatever else you've got lit up. So maybe you could feel into these energies today. The sacral and the root, the pressure to concentrate, the energy to focus, the ability to stay still within the concentration. How does that feel to you? Is that something maybe that you can experience, that you can bring some awareness to? That's me for today. Thank you very much for joining me, for listening or watching. And I will see you tomorrow for line 2, 15, line 2. Okay, go gently. Bye-bye now.